rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and admitted. Fucking hell. Fuck. Where?
Do we need to see that one more time? I think we need to see that one more time. Who else wants to watch a Russian reporter get blown up one more time? I know I do. Let's just watch it happen. Let's just watch it happen. Oh, yeah. Welcome in, everybody. One more time. Russian reporter getting blown up by an airstrike. And I'm going to tell you how stupid this guy is here in just a little bit and how he 1000% brought this on himself.
Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and admitted. Fucking hell. Fuck. Where?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know about you guys. Me, I thought that was absolutely freaking amazing. Nothing like watching a freaking Russian reporter get blown up. Now, why is he dumb? Why is he dumb? Well, the bridges that he is standing on, as I've told you guys over the last 48 hours, Israel has been taking out the bridges along the Litani River that Hezbollah uses to resupply themselves inside of Lebanon. This guy works for RT. He's well aware of that. He's very well aware of it, and he decided to go down and probably document the bridges being destroyed and paint some little random spin on it. But here's the part that they also didn't tell you. They were all given evacuation notices. They weren't supposed to be standing there. They were told to leave because they were going to continue to bomb the bridges. And when you ignore the evacuation notices and they're still actively bombing bridges, well, guess what happens? You might end up with your face towards the sky. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's British. He works for RT. You see all of the things up there? RT underscore Russia. It doesn't matter if he's quote unquote British. His paychecks are coming from the Kremlin. That's where they come from. There's Americans that work for RT. There's Americans that receive Kremlin paychecks. That's where his paychecks come from. He just happened to get blown up on a bridge because he didn't want to listen. But, you know, of course, he's not going to tell anybody else that that's what ended up happening, right? Because he works for RT. He's got to make a very dramatic, phone call. His name is Steve Sweeney, for those of you guys that don't know. But yeah, he decided to call the Lebanese information minister immediately after the strike. He survived. His cameraman survived, by the way.
Very much. That's very, very kind of you. But I think we're okay. We were incredibly lucky. I think this was clearly a deliberate strike by the Israelis attacking journalists reporting in the field and reporting on.
Oh, it's the Israelis attacking journalists in the field. It could have possibly been the bridges that they've been saying they've been going to blow up for the last freaking 2 days that you were standing next to that already had a freaking munition on it. It's not like they wouldn't just continue to blow bridges up. Raven Tax says, if you play it frame by frame, you can see the rocket before it lands. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
The ever-mounting Israeli war crimes. They want to silence us. I think it's almost certainly. Made on purpose? Almost certainly, 100% it was on purpose. They knew that we were on the bridge. They can see. They know everything that happens here in the south. They monitor.
They knew we were on the bridge. They knew it was us. They couldn't tell it was us. They couldn't tell I was some white British guy reporting and working for the Russian government. No, it had to have been then. And of course, the Lebanese freaking guy is just going to eat it all up.
Every movement. They knew we were there.
Yeah, so they were willing to target you.
Of course.
Of course.
Israel, of course, they're willing to target us.
It's Israel.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen what happened in Gaza.
We're gonna highlight this, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I like this, yeah.
No, of course, they won't let foreign journalists in Gaza. That's, but they obviously were allowed to operate freely here in Lebanon, so we can expose their war crimes more openly. And I think that it was.
so that we can expose the war crimes more openly, as if Russia wasn't working with Hezbollah. Too bad, so sad. We know that. Excuse me. It's just so ridiculous. Of course, RT is going to have guys that are out there on the ground. Tristan Allen, it's your birthday, buddy. Happy birthday, Tristan. Hell yeah, dude. 30th birthday coming in to celebrate it tonight. Can't think of a healthier, better way and a better crowd to join yourself with on celebration of it. So happy birthday. Raven Tactile, if you play it frame by frame, you can see the rocket before. Yes, you can 100% see that sucker. It's actually on the thumbnail for those of you guys that didn't even bother looking at the thumbnail. You guys just smash the freaking go live button and coming in here. So yeah, we've got that coming out. I mean, we could finish listening to this guy if you want, but I don't really think there's a point unless you guys really just want to hear his BS. Additionally, coming up tonight, we do have the war on oil that has taken place. We've got Israel that ended up bombing the petroleum facility, the LNG facility over inside of Iran. Then Iran answered back yesterday, ended up bombing the crap out of freaking Qatar's LNG facility. $20 billion freaking dollars, baby, gone down the drain. So that's out of there. Bo says, Matt, do you think they'll eventually eliminate most of all of their Iranian ballistic missiles or launchers? Good evening. Well, that's a good question, man. Because it would depend on whether or not they can get resupplied, right? I mean, they would have to get resupplied at some point in time. And I might have information for you going forward. It's almost like you read my mind. Information going forward that I have for you, 1000% suggests that they're getting resupplied today. And I know this because of my own personal experience. And these are the guys that are freaking, putting the freaking boot behind the butt of Hamas. But why not cover up for Hezbollah? It's not like there's books like this over there in southern Lebanon that the Israelis are finding that teach children how to cut the heads off of non-believers. That seems like something that we should all get behind, right? Hezbollah, largest non-state terror organization in the world. He's just down there rooting for them. And why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he? Oh, that's right, because America's on the side of Israel. Therefore, Russia has to be on the side of freaking terrorists. That's why. Literally hacking people's heads off. These are books found down there. Reading Rambo. Oh, Reading Rambo. Perfect time for you to pop up. 28-month membership here, and it's still Matt's birthday today. Hell yeah, buddy. Raise hail, praise Dale. All right. So, despite what we might have heard about no boots on the ground in the Middle East, there's 2,500 additional Marines that are on their way over there right now from another MEU. So that brings the total up, 2,000 more. So that brings the total up to like 4,500 Marines that are now on their way to go over into the Persian Gulf, or at least into the CENTCOM AOR. We don't know where they're going or what they're doing. Obviously, they're not going to tell us what we're going to do with these freaking Marines. People are still speculating and saying, you know what, they're going to go over and take Hog Island. They're going to storm a beachhead. They're going to take mainland Iran. Not with 4,000 Marines, you knuckleheads. Tristan Allen coming in, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Yeah, buddy. So that's what we've got. I don't think you're taking, a freaking beachhead. Well, I mean, you could take an Iranian beachhead with 4,500 Marines, but you'd have to ask yourself, what is the tactical purpose of that overall strategic goal of taking a beachhead? It's not like we have a much larger landing force. If there was an invasion force that was on its way, I hate to break it to everybody, but you would have heard a long time ago about U.S. troops that were being deployed. You would have heard of a buildup in the Middle East of U.S. troops. Tristan says, here's some gifted from my casino winnings. Hell yeah, buddy. Good job, Tristan. Thank you, sir. Hugh Janus in the house. Always love reading your name. Always brings joy to my face every single time I do it. Whoop, I'm a green beanie once more. Yeah, buddy. All right. So as far as the war goes, is it going to drag on forever? There's a lot of people that are saying this is dragging us into another endless war over in the Middle East. Hegseth was forced to come out today and actually speak out against that.
Today, speaking to you, the American people, not through filters, not through reporters, not through cable news spin. A dishonest and anti-Trump press will stop at nothing. We know this at this point. To downplay progress, amplify every cost, and call into question every step. Sadly, TDS is in their DNA. They want President Trump to fail. But you, the American people, know better. Yes, there are reporters in front of me, but they are not our audience today. It's you, the good, decent, patriotic American people. You, the hardworking, tax-paying, God-fearing American patriots. The media here, not all of it, but much of it.
I can't do it. Listen, this should be a freaking briefing on what's going on over there. At the end of the day, he ends up coming out. He ends up saying, no, it's not going to be a never-ending war. We're on time. We're on schedule. Media is just trying to come out and say all those things. Like, is it me, or does he just speak so dang slow? Like, does he really think the American people are that retarded? That's the question. Well, with the amount of people that watch Tucker, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. But yeah, no, he speaks drastically so. But just so you guys are aware, there is nothing like that has changed as far as scheduling goes or anything like that. Now, whoever it was that ended up asking the question earlier, that ended up going down to whether or not Iran is going to soon be depleted of all of their launchers. I want to present you guys with this convoy of humanitarian aid that's making its way over into Iran as we speak. Can't make that stuff up. Humanitarian aid shipments, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right. Humanitarian aid on its way into Iran from Tajikistan. Massive freaking convoy of it. Hundreds of trucks, as a matter of fact, going in there because we know the regime really wants to feed all of their people and that they're worried about humanitarian aid. Now, where have I seen this play out before? Oh, that's right. Over inside of Gaza when I was able to take the photographs geolocated of humanitarian aid and weapons and equipment that were being smuggled in on it. It was a lot. Anyways, yeah. I think most of you guys would not be surprised if I told you that Tajikistan has a drone factory in it for the IRGC. And here you go. Who's going to be inspecting these is the real question. Abby says, it was my birthday yesterday. We send you gifts on our birthdays around here. Abby, that's ridiculous. Y'all stop sending me gifts on your birthdays. Tristan, sir, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships on your birthday. No, sir. I love the Speak the Truth family too. You guys really have changed my life, and I love every single one of you guys for it. I just got to run a poll. Start a poll. Just out of curiosity, does anyone, oh, come on, we can't let it go. Does anyone believe this is humanitarian aid? Question mark. I'm just curious if you guys think if it's a humanitarian aid or not. I am of almost certainty that if we popped open most of those trucks, we would end up finding weapons and equipment. Oh my goodness. It's sitting at like 100% no. John says, donating $9.99 for my birthday tomorrow. Woo! Johnny Nobleham. Why are you guys all donating freaking money for your birthday? This is nuts. Happy birthday, Johnny. I'm going to see you tomorrow, man, but happy birthday to you. This is nuts. This is not going to be humanitarian aid. I don't even know why I decided to run this poll. 300 votes. Oh, that was the easiest poll I've ever ran. I just got to cut it off. 300 votes came in. 95% of you guys have said, no, they're not going to be shipping in humanitarian aid. Well, no kidding. Obviously, they're not going to be shipping in humanitarian aid. Other big lie that ended up coming out, they ended up stating that F-35 ended up getting shot down today. Yes, Iran claims that they shot down an F-35, and they provided this video to go along with it. Only problem is it doesn't look like any forward-looking infrared system I've ever seen, particularly with like the outline on there. And everybody's basically calling this AI. Now, what is true is that there was an F-35 that got damaged and made an emergency landing. An F-35 got damaged and made an emergency landing probably about 12 hours ago. This video that Iran released, and I'm pretty sure if I go over to like Khamenei's X account, oh my goodness, man, I haven't done this in a while. He's back from the dead, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Khamenei is back from the dead. He posted this 8 hours ago. He said, the U.S. empire is in decline. It's the dead guy. It's the former Ayatollah. Like, if you needed to get evidence of fake news, I can't do it with the music. Former Ayatollah, guy that's now 6 feet under, or whatever rock it is that they put on top of him over there. Yeah, decided to share that with you. Dale B., the Nick Ol Nasty says weapons convoy. Nickel Nasty. Yeah, it is weapons convoy, brother. Thank you. It's absolutely a weapons convoy. I have absolutely no doubt that's what it is. But, people are claiming that the regime shot it down. And I don't think I need to share the photograph and remind everybody, or maybe I do, of the F-35 that they claim they shot down during the 12-day war. I mean, crap, man. Maybe I need to remind everybody. Oh, come on now. I know I have F-35 on my profile. Iran claimed they shot down an F-35, and it was absolutely atrocious. I just posted it the other day. It made me die laughing, like almost in my freaking sleep. Holy freaking cow. Holy cow. Oh my God. The thing was the size of the freaking Noah's Ark, man. It was massive. And they're like, we shot down an F-35. Complete total AI. Complete total fake. Yeah, anyways, I don't need to show you guys. You guys are well aware of it. Not moving on. Anyways, Gulf states ended up having their meeting yesterday. Iran ended up bombing the crap out of them while they were having this meeting. Ended up pissing off a ton of people. But I want you guys to listen to the Saudi foreign minister and what he actually has to say about Iran.
I don't know how they claim to be fighting for Islamic causes while attacking Islamic countries. They are not attacking a single nation. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Lebanon, Jordan, Azerbaijan, Turkey. All these countries are Islamic countries, yet Iran attacks them. And even before this war, what was Iran's contribution in the issues related to the Islamic world? They support the Houthi militia in Yemen. They supported the popular militia in Iraq, who are, and now they are attacking Iraq. They are attacking Iraq territories, Hezbollah in Lebanon, who didn't suffice by hijacking the political decision in Lebanon, but rather was an effective arm to perform sabotaging actions in the region and in Saudi Arabia. And the biggest example is Iran and Hezbollah's role in Syria. So where is such support or so-called support in the Muslim world when they commit such crimes? And supporting the former Syrian regime, how do they support the Islamic world when they assassinate politicians in Lebanon? How do they support the Muslim world's issues and causes when they empower the popular mobilization forces in Iraq? Hindering the development efforts in Iraq. I can't see how they support the Islamic causes. I believe these are simple slogans which they hide behind it, and these tools, they work to serve the Iranian interests rather than the slogans they claim.
Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see here. We've got a lot of super chats that ended up coming in. As you can see, the Gulf states are kind of pissed off at him. Kelly says, I'm going to donate for my birthday. That's in July. Great work for all of the information that you provide to us. Johnny, donating $9.99 for my birthday tomorrow. We got so many birthdays. Tristan Allen gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. AP Payne coming in strong with 10. Juan Kerr, love the channel. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate you. I'll probably mispronounce your name. Anyways, as you guys can see, like, they're not happy about it. They're trying to come to decisions right now on what it is exactly that they want to do, whether or not they're going to start bombing the crap out of them. Donald Trump ended up issuing a statement of condemnation after Israel ended up bombing that natural gas facility yesterday over inside, of Iran. Ended up condemning the attack and threatening that if Iran makes another attack, he says that Israel is not going to attack any more of their infrastructure. But if Iran continues to attack, they're basically going to unwage unholy hell. That is because that facility that ended up getting bombed was worth well over freaking $20 billion. $20 billion. That's right. And what's even worse is Tucker Carlson came out last night and said that Israel bombed the facility over inside of Qatar, not the Iranians. He actually either lied or got it mixed up. I don't know. It seems like Tucker has a lot of mix-ups for being such a competent reporter. But claiming that Israel ended up bombing the facility over inside of Qatar kind of makes me like giggle inside. So yeah, they're pretty pissed off about that. Wrong side of the strait. Nailed it.
I think there are a variety of Gulf countries, and Lucas will talk to this a little bit more, that are having to make serious decisions right now about whether or not to get directly involved offensively against Iran. What we saw yesterday, the Ras Laffan facility coming under attack in Qatar, was really the largest escalation of this conflict yet. This is the largest producer of liquefied natural gas in the entire world. And it was targeted yesterday with ballistic missiles. And as of about 8 hours ago, first responders in Qatar say they've controlled about 2 out of 3 of the fires that were burning there. But this is a significant escalation that will have a ripple effect across energy markets around the world. And it's part of the reason that we heard President Trump yesterday putting out a truth social. And he said, in part, quote, Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. That was the initial strike that led to the retaliation from Iran. But the bottom line here is that we are looking at a rapidly increasing escalation ladder in the Middle East. And it raises questions about off-ramps and how President Trump and the administration and others will be able to ensure that Iran does not continue these attacks on regional Gulf countries and energy infrastructure that's not just used by the United States, but the entire world.
Well, President Trump came out and he stated that if they do it again, they're going to like basically level all of frickin' Iran. Not that we're not doing it already, but that we're actually going to go after their fuel industry and actually start taking that out. Now, Iran, in addition to having that site struck, got kind of pissed off and actually started attacking Israel today, and they went after Haifa. Now, this is one of the things that I kind of look at and I go, well, maybe, just maybe, there might be some truth to this one. The Iranian shills are claiming that the port ended up getting struck directly. This is the port of Haifa. There's a large refining facility over there. This is the only video that I can find that has been, I don't know, quasi-verifiable. Israel is stating that the port of Haifa, specifically the fuel manufacturing plant that they have over there, didn't take a direct hit. It had fallout that ended, like fallout from an interception that ended up hitting it. But this is the video that's going around anyways. Doesn't look like fallout, actually looks like a freaking bomb going down. But here's the thing, and you guys are about to see it. There is no splash. It certainly sounds like other stuff exploded, but as far as that particular munition, not so much. Not so much. Not from what I can tell as far as that munition goes. They're looking at the place going, yes, it's on fire. Yes, they ended up hitting it. I had a drive-by video. Not sure what I did with it, but it showed that there was a small fire inside of the plant. Not a very big one. I mean, for the love of God, it's a freaking gas plant, right? So there was a fire in there. Locals on the ground ended up reporting that electricity was off for a short period of time, but they ended up getting everything up and running. And apparently Archery Tech felt the need to get bullied into donating 10 as well. He says, for my birthday that was on the 9th, sorry, I'm late. You don't have to apologize for being late, buddy. It's okay. Like, what kind of a cult am I running here? That you guys have guilt tripped everybody into making donations for their freaking birthday. Like, did I just turn a random cult on today? Like, I have no freaking idea. You guys are all culted out. Anyways, the damage from some of those ballistic missiles that landed over in Israel isn't exactly significant. People are claiming that there was like dozens killed and all sorts of weird stuff going down today, and that it was a huge freaking strike. But none of that has actually come through. Last casualties I ended up hearing of was the 4 Palestinian women that got killed day before yesterday. And a lot of it appears to just be bomblets that fell in the street. And I say bomblets because of the damage right there in the ground, right? Like, that is very consistent with what we've seen of the bomblets that end up falling out of the cluster ballistic missiles that Iran ends up firing over. Oh, Blake, he says it's because we love you. No homo. Oh, huge anus for my birthday in November. Sorry, I'm late. Oh, huge anus. Oh, you guys are great. And Blake, you guys all make me smile. Happy birthday, Matt, says F Google sucks. Yeah, well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. But as you guys can see, the consistency on the ground basically says that these are bomblets that fell in the middle of the city. And as I told you, the nice thing about these is they weigh so much and they end up burying themselves in the ground. It looks like they have a delayed detonation fuse. It's not point. So they're burying themselves and then detonating. That right there is a part of the ballistic missile that ended up going down to the ground. Bo says, in Sky God's honor. I love nights like tonight. You guys are freaking silly. In Sky God's honor, also happy birthday, Tristan. Speak the truth. Hope everybody is having a good night. Thanks, Matt. You're welcome, sir. And Shiba Cat for my birthday in August. Jeez Louise, man. You guys are out of control. All right, so there's that other video that ended up coming up. Not even worth really playing because it's very, very short, but you guys can see that you've got damage on the window here, which is very indicative of a chunk of fallout that ended up bouncing off the windshield of the vehicle. Abby says, speak the truth culture building, happy birthday donations, pants checks, and memes, the trifecta of a firm foundation. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are not wrong. That is kind of how it goes. Now, not all of the bomblets ended up... Jeez. Been there, done that says, I missed my donation on my birthday last year. Came in with 5. Oh, my Lord, you guys. Not every bomblet ended up missing, their target. This Iranian bomblet actually found a school. And this one happens to be an elementary school, or at least that's what the Israelis are claiming today. Check that sucker out. Now, if you check out the size of that impact crater, that is a lot larger than some of the other ones. So it kind of makes me wonder what the heck it was that actually splashed down there. Or maybe if the ground consistency was just a little bit different. But you guys take a look at that crater right over there inside. I also noticed that there's not a lot of spalling on the wall. If that was a full-blown ballistic missile, those things come in at like 2 tons? Yeah, it's a lot. Forget, I think it is a 2,000-pound warhead, but it's a buttload. That's definitely not the right size crater for that either. So it's something that's in between. Shiba Cat coming in, giving out an additional 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Ross Bogus coming in with 20. I think I read your name right. Yeah, thank you, sir. And Abby says, for my cat's birthday next week. Why does everybody have birthdays now, man? Lord almighty. Lord all freaking mighty. All right, and this was one that was kind of to my surprise. I was going to play it last night. I don't think I did, though, to be honest. But the UN is actually coming out now, actually talking firmly about Iran for once.
In my contacts with allies all over NATO territory, what I'm sensing and hearing is that we all agree, as we always did, that it was crucial for Iran not to get its hands on a nuclear capability, a ballistic missile capability, and what the US is doing at the moment is degrading that capability of Iran, and I think that's very important. This is important for European security, for the Middle East. It is vital for Israel itself. Then when it comes to the Hormuz Strait, everybody agrees. This strait cannot stay closed. It has to open up again as soon as possible. This is crucial for the world economy. In my context with allies are seeing is that they are intensely discussing amongst each other, with the United States and amongst each other, the best way forward to tackle this huge security issue. And let me add to that, that I'm confident that allies, as always, will do everything in support of our shared interest.
Really, the Secretary General coming out with very strong words saying that they're going to do everything within their best interests because it's the international community's best interest. And yet it looks like the Gulf nations are the ones that are going to be carrying that load in order to get that sucker up and moving. UK's got some troops that are committed over there to the area. Ukraine has sent some troops over the area. Mostly it's the US and the Israelis that are handling this whole thing. Incog Faraday, not willing to let the joke die, says, for the last birthday Khamenei will ever have. He's still alive, man. He ain't dead. Tupac's living in Iran with Khamenei. Let's see here. Scotty wants to know if I fed Rob lately. I heard he's pretty lonely in the basement dungeon and probably needs some water. Nope. Rob will put the lotion on his skin. And our white for my unborn child's birthday that hasn't been conceived yet. Well, that's great, man. That's great. Go forth, be merry, and spread your seed. My Lord, you guys, man. Volk, here's one for my birthday I missed back in November. Happy birthday, Matt. You guys just don't let it freaking die, man. You guys just freaking just getting it. If you worship dollars, then you think that's a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Blake Deskin says, serious question, does the U.S. even need NATO anymore? Seeing as how we foot the bill and all the work and other allies that we do for NATO. Yeah, I do think that, you know, the United States needs NATO. And I think that Greenland within itself is a very, very, very good, right, example of that. Nobody, and I mean nobody in the media yesterday was talking about how airstrikes over in northern Iran along the Caspian Sea ended up taking out all of Iran's fleet that was shipping arms and equipment over to Russia. And I think if it wasn't for NATO moving all of those forces into Greenland, I think that whole thing was a freaking ploy when Trump was like, we're going to take it. It was an excuse for NATO to flex a bunch of military equipment over there to defend against Russian ballistic missiles and whatnot, and to have that land defended. And I think we planned on taking out those Russian ships. That wasn't a mistake, right? Like I can't believe that's just been glossed over. Like, that pissed Russia off. And now today we're seeing an uptick. I told you guys about it last night. I said, watch for an uptick in Russian propaganda the day that this garbage ends up it's going to happen. Because we took out their freaking boats that are supplying them with freaking drones and bombs. Watch it happen. And what did you see? You saw a huge uptick in propaganda today. Yeah, I think we need NATO. It's nice. They are capable, as long as they're up and running. They are capable of providing some assets. It's just putting that boot to the arse in order to make it happen. Raven Tactical says, Trump versus Pearl Harbor reporter question. That was really funny, actually. I should play that for everybody because that was freaking hilarious. Let's see. I'll play that here in a little bit. Don't let me forget. Don Boo says, here's 5 for my birthday back in January. Apologies for my tardiness, dear leader. Yeah, you're going to get kicked out of the cult, dude. Escape the city as an apology from the UK for that asshat reporter. We got plenty, man. We got plenty. You guys don't remember Dirty Rick Sanchez from Miami over in Iran? Yeah. Isaac Phillips says, I have decided to donate early for my birthday in August. I'll be in CBP Academy. Hell yeah, dude. Join the cult, baby. Congrats on getting accepted as well. Congrats. Hopefully by then, all of this war crap will be over and we can go back to talking about things that actually make sense. And when I said it's a war on oil, I don't know if you guys ended up seeing the subtitle on the thumbnail, literally calling it a war on oil today, because it seems like everybody now is going after oil.
This is nonsense, Maria. You know, for the regime, you know, we're back to the stuff of Baghdad Bob here. You know, the regime is in collapse, and the people are starting to turn against them. We're starting to see defections at Treasury. We now know where the Iranian leadership bank accounts are, and you know, those are being frozen. And you know, we will hold them and see who comes forward in terms of defections, but you know, we're starting to see defections throughout the regime, and that's how this ends. So you know, the idea of some tolling arrangement is ridiculous. What President Trump is talking about, and to be clear, he has focused on Karg Island since 1988, before the Shah fell. That the U.S. should be focused on that. He is laser focused on it. As I said, there was a bombing campaign last week. The military assets on Karg Island were destroyed. And you know, the other thing I can tell you, if you're an oil worker, you don't want to work there. So all the oil workers there are being coerced to stay there. And you know, we will see what happens with whether that eventually becomes a U.S. asset.
You guys happy now? You can get your like daily news dosage with a bunch of humor added in from you knuckleheads out there. Some guy 87, apologies, it's late. Here's the $10 for my birthday in November, 5 years from now. So he's giving $2 for his birthday for the additional 5 years. I really appreciate you, man, paying in full, for the following 5 years to keep me around. It really does make my day. So thank you. Thank you for that one. Lord. Yep. So we're going to be going after and sanctioning oil that they actually have out there. And it's not just me that's saying it. It's the Treasury Secretary.
a break the glass plan across the administration and at Treasury. We unsanctioned Russian oil. We knew that there were about 130 million barrels on the water, and we created supply that is beyond the Straits of Hormuz. So we anticipated this. We knew that there could be a temporary, and I want to emphasize temporary, choke point there, and there was 130 million barrels of floating storage. In the coming days, we may unsanction the Iranian oil that's on the water. It's about 140 million barrels, so depending on how you count it, that's 10 days to 2 weeks of supply that the Iranians had been pushing out. That would have all gone to China. In essence, we will be using the Iranian barrels against the Iranians to keep the price down for the next 10 or 14 days as we continue this campaign.
Well, there you go. They may stop the sanctions on the oil between Russia and Iran in order to drive the prices further down to appease the international community. Ross Bogus says, happy birthday to me. Well, happy birthday to you, sir. Happy birthday. And the second female in the chat tonight, which I'm surprised we even have two covering this stuff, Melissa Tate, here's my late birthday donation from January. Don't spend it all in one place. Don't worry, I will. Don't worry, I will. Let's see here. Raven Tactical, and for my son's birthday tomorrow. Oh, you guys. Y'all make me smile. Happy birthday to your son, my man. What's your kid's name? I don't know. Can we give him I don't even know if it's true, but we give him a birthday shout out. All hail Matt, the truth cult leader, from Michael. Now, interesting things to denote up over here on this map I came across today. I thought it was very interesting. That shows the dividing line. Told you guys, Israel was handling a lot of things in the north, and the United States of America was handling a lot of the things in the south. Israel is 1,000% going after the political targets, and the United States is going after the terror infrastructure, if you will, across the south. I want you guys to take a look at the density map as it presses out and it goes over towards the western border. Every single circle you guys see up there has to do with strikes that ended up taking place, right? And you can see that there's a lot more strikes over on the western border of Iran. Kerman Shah has a lot more airstrikes than a lot of other places. It's like Kerman Shah, Isfahan, Tehran, and Tabriz are the ones that are getting hammered the worst, right? Clearly, Tehran is getting the freaking smack laid down on it, so that's really good. Volk says, this membership milestone is sponsored by my nephew's birthday last October. That's what I'm talking about, baby. So I'm talking about, always love it when I see you guys' milestones pop up. Lord almighty. Raven Tackle, his name is Cohen, and he's turning 6. Cohen! Love that name, or I'm sorry, no, it's Colton, excuse me. Wow, read that wrong. Colton, happy birthday to you on your 6th birthday. Listen to your dad and eat all of the candy you can tomorrow. Eat all of the cake, do all of the things that make you happy. Happy birthday, young man. Happy birthday to my 2 dogs as well, coming from Doug Hill. Happy birthday, boys. Zenith Dawn says, this is my sweet Aussie's birthday, whatever it is. Aw. We got doggy birthdays coming in now. Always questioning, says, just because you can't recognize a female, it doesn't mean we're not in here. Oh, dear God. Oh, man. Yep. Hopefully I can turn into that like wood splitting guy and just get a cult following that ends up coming in here. But yep. So here again, target density map shown just a little bit different on what's going on. Let me see. I think this other one shows a little bit more clear. It does. Told you guys about the strikes up over on the Caspian Sea that were going after the Russian vessels and the ports and stuff. And you guys can see those strikes laid out up over here on the map. They had additional ones today that they ended up going after and blowing up some more of those boats that ended up coming out. And some sadder news out of Iran, because why not? We need to do that. Here, we have to actually talk, and we have to tell you that this young man was hung today over inside of Iran. They put a rope around his neck, and raised him up high where everybody could see. Why? Because he doesn't support the regime. And they decided it would be nice to put him to death. Condemnation from the international community? Silent. Anybody bring this up anywhere? No. MTX says, I'm a chick, but you always forget and call me he. MTX, how was I supposed to know you're a chick, man? Like, it's not anywhere in your name. Dear Lord, how many females do we have creeping on here? Lord almighty, man. I might have more in here than I knew. Dale B says, this is for America's 251st birthday. Thank you, sir. 50th birthday, excuse me. All right, so we've got several. We got MTX. She's creeping in here. We got you. Always questioning is in here as well. She's questioning why she spends her Thursday evenings hanging out watching this trash. But I don't blame her. You know, I don't blame her at all. All right. Now, Phantom Shaman, it's his cat's birthday tomorrow. Abby says, excuse me, I'm not a speak the truth female. I identify as a speak the truth broad. I like that. I like that, Abby. I like that. Oh, my Lord. What the hell is wrong with you people here? Oh, J-Cam, female. Only female. Oh, my Lord. You know what? Here, let's just do a poll. Let's just do this. Start a poll. What is your... I have to ask this now. What is your birth sex? Male or female? I'm just curious. I don't know why, but I'm just curious. I'm just curious. All right, and while you guys are busy running that one, let's just bring up whether or not Tulsi Gabbard, who a lot of people don't like, how she felt about whether or not Iran was an imminent threat.
Assessments. Thank you. I also wanted to ask this because this week there was a high-profile resignation of Director of National Counterterrorism Center. Now, I want to be clear from the outset. I've communicated directly with President Trump my support for Operation Epic Fury, and I was very not only disappointed, but how inappropriate this letter was. And I want to read a statement that and get your personal assessment, whether you agree or disagree with that. And that's this. Early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States and that you should strike now. There was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into a disastrous Iraq war. Now, I cannot say how much I disagree with that statement. Do you agree or disagree with what this letter was put out by former Director Kent?
He said a lot of things in that letter. Ultimately, we have provided the president with the intelligence assessments, and the president is elected by the American people and makes his own decisions based on the information that's available to him.
But do you agree with, does that statement he made, blaming Israel, concern you?
Yes.
My next question is...
There you go. Proud American says, only 5 because of the engagement ring. Congrats, buddy. Congrats. She said yes. She's a Mexican immigrant that loves America, our traditions, and values. As long as she's not feisty, man. As long as she's not feisty. But at least you've got the green card to hold over her head for the next 3 years if she steps out of line. I mean, you got that going for you, right? Am I right? Am I right? All right. Anyways, you guys asked me earlier today over in the Discord. I had a discussion about it, and you guys asked me to look into Joe Kent, whether or not he was a threat, and all of these other things that ended up coming out. And one of the big things that we ended up questioning and looking at was his wife, Heather Kaiser Kent. I did background research on Heather Kaiser Kent, and actually what I ended up coming up with is something that I do not think it is plausible. I didn't say it's not possible. Now I'm saying it's not possible or plausible, excuse me. So I don't believe it, that she would be the source of the leak. Matter of fact, information ended up coming out from Axios today that ended up stating that Joe Kent was actually leaking information to Tucker Carlson. That's what Axios ended up reporting today. Gabe says, guys, my boyfriend just told me he's pregnant. I'm so excited. Oh, dear God. Gabe, that's not a man. As Azriel says, happy birthday, Matt. Oh, my Lord. You guys are freaking out of control. All right, so what do we actually know about her? Well, we know quite a bit, actually. She's been very, very public, and she's done a lot of work. Now, everybody that ends up citing her stuff over into Gray Zone ended up looking up the particular article, reading it, and then assessing what actually came out in that. Now, some of you guys might not like this, but what it certainly sounds like, and I actually messaged her, she ended up writing me back today. Turns out it's true. She was basically hired to do research on the monetary funding that Biden was sending over to Ukraine. And if you actually go over and read the article, which I can link for you guys if you would like, the work that she did was background research on the monetary spending that was going into Ukraine that everybody now knows. We had a lot of misappropriation that was going into it. So while she did do work for Gray Zone, this was the capacity in which it was. Even reading the article and after talking to her, it is very clear, and that is why there is multiple co-authors on this, is that they ended up writing the dang article. So that's what ended up coming out of it. Now, to take it a step further, as we go into it, her research was also used in congressional testimony by the Heritage Foundation on May 16th, 2024, to actually go over and validate the amount of illegal immigrants and Chinese immigrants that were pouring into the United States of America. So we have lots of people that are pouring in the United States, and lots of her research was actually cited for congressional testimony for how not secure our borders actually are. Taking it a step further, I can bring up and I can tell you guys that she ended up like being the main supporter and pushing for a veterans monument that ended up getting put up over at a university, as well as doing several other notable things following her military career in the intelligence field, including serving as a mentor over at TAP's Good Grief Camp in 2016 and as a military mentor for the U.S. Senate program that same year. So she's actually done a lot of good things for the United States of America, believe it or not. Now, with that being said, we can go a little bit further. I found this video very interesting today. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this guy is doing body language analysis or body analysis on Joe Kent and his different statements that he has going into here.
The way Joe Kent raises an accusation and immediately retreats from it in the same breath is exactly how a seasoned intelligence official plans a narrative without technically building one. Watch.
We don't know what happened with Charlie Kirk, and by no means am I saying like, you know, the Israelis did this or any of that, but I'm saying there's a lot of unanswered questions there, and there is enough data to at least say that there's a good chance that President Trump feels like he is under threat.
That is Joe Kent, former Army Green Beret, CIA paramilitary officer, and until 48 hours ago, director of the National Counterterrorism Center. He resigned March 18th in protest of the Iran war, and within hours of that resignation...
Okay, we don't need to go through the whole thing, but let's go to, I think, this portion of the video I find very interesting.
And then he introduces the Israel donor angle. Listen carefully to exactly what he is and is not actually claiming.
We know the pressure because of the text messages that have been made public, that Charlie was under a lot of pressure from a lot of pro-Israel donors. And again, we know Charlie was advocating to President Trump against this war with Iran.
He cites text messages made public, and those messages do exist. They document donor pressure on Kirk's political positions. That part is real. But Kent links two separate things. Kirk being lobbied by pro-Israel donors and Kirk's murder. Those two facts have no documented connection. There is a shooter with a motive currently in a courtroom in Utah. Kent never says the implication out loud. He raises the two sides of a cliff and leaves the viewer to build an imaginary bridge. And because he never says it, he can never be held accountable for it. That is quite clever. And besides, saying that the Jews did it is trendy these days. Now, pay close attention to the moment right after Kent talks about the FBI referring to this case as a slam dunk. That transition is a tell.
Hung on, hey, we've got the guy, his fingerprints are on the gun. We got video of him jumping off the roof. Like, this is a slam dunk case. Okay, even if it is a slam dunk case that he took the shot, what about all the people who had prior knowledge?
He just conceded the entire prosecution's case in 2 sentences. Fingerprints, video, confession, and then pivoted. The "what about" redirect is a classic misdirection move. You grant the thing you can't fight, then shift to the thing that can never be disproven. Prior knowledge online is unfalsifiable. You cannot prove a negative. You cannot demonstrate that every anonymous post was investigated and cleared or not. The question, therefore, lives forever, which is exactly what it's designed to do. Now, he paraphrases the FBI's position on the case. Look at his face as he delivers their words.
But basically, once they caught him, once he turned himself in and his fingerprints were on the gun, it was basically pencils down. Utah has the rest of it. There's nothing else to see here.
Pencils down, nothing to see here. That is simply not correct. In fact, Kash Patel himself is on record, under oath, saying that they were investigating the people in those forums where Tyler Robinson was announcing what he was going to do. So again, this is a way of framing some sort of conspiracy or cover-up, most likely to divert attention from his own investigation. And then, unprompted, he says this. 3 words in this clip deserve your complete attention.
Just from my perspective, now the people who had prior knowledge, I believe most of them were American citizens, so that would be on the FBI to go run down.
He says it himself that he believes that the people who had previous knowledge online were American citizens. This is another way of hedging himself against any definitive affirmation. Oh, I am not implying that Israel did it, or that Charlie Kirk was murdered by Israel so the war on Iran could go on and whatnot. The funniest part is that Carlson does not ask questions about the American citizens part.
No way.
And here's where the mirror breaks completely, because what makes this interview unlike almost anything you will see this year is that Axios confirmed Kent was suspected of leaking specifically to Tucker Carlson, the man sitting across from him right now. That is the frame from everything that follows. Watch this clip closely. He's about to retreat from a claim he already retreated from 30 seconds earlier.
But again, not without saying anything specific, there was more work for us to do on the potential of a foreign nexus. Again, not saying there is one, but we had more work to do, and we were blocked from doing that.
Count the retreats in 10 seconds. Not without saying anything specific. Hatch entry. Potential of a foreign nexus. Qualified. Again, not saying there is one. Full denial. 3 retreats, 1 breath. And yet, there's a claim that a foreign power may have been involved in Charlie Kirk's murder. It lands every time, because the human brain weighs what was said more heavily than the denial that follows. Search his entire testimony and you will not find a single declarative factual claim about foreign interference. Only implications followed by retreats, followed by the same implications rephrased.
You guys understand what this gentleman's saying? Mads, a raver? Mads Raver? It's totally, I don't know how to pronounce that. Why is no one talking about the missing Major General, heavily involved in national security stuff? Because quite frankly, they put out a silver alert for the guy. He's old. And old people go missing all of the time. That's why I haven't looked into it. I do know that there is a lot of stuff that's like revolving around that, but that's why I personally haven't looked into it. This is right here the point. Every single thing that he ended up coming out with, everything that he ended up coming out and stating, he doesn't make any assertions. Like, he doesn't say, yes, this is 100% what happened. Even when he ends up talking about the Charlie Kirk shooting, he says, look, Charlie, absolutely, the killer of Charlie Kirk admitted to it. His DNA was on the gun. There's video evidence that shows him doing all of that stuff. But why weren't we allowed to look into anything else? In my opinion, as far as I know, that's a lie, because the FBI 100% did research. Kash Patel is on record talking about the amount of research they did do into all of the online benign influence operations, all of the servers and stuff like that he was on, putting his plans out for everything that he was going to do. Seth G says, do you look into the Russians sending oil to Cuba? I have not looked into the Russians sending oil to Cuba. No, that I have not looked into yet. I apologize for not doing so, but maybe, one day I will. And then probably, the biggest thing is this statement right here.
The community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it?
They assessed that Iran continued to grow and had the intention to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capabilities. And as I pointed out, the Iranian foreign minister claims they have 460 kilograms of enriched uranium. And the last inspection that was done by the International Atomic Energy Agency says that there was only 440 kilograms of enriched uranium. That means that there was over 20 kilograms of enriched uranium that just poof and appeared out of nowhere, according to Iran. Azrael coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you very much. Now, Joe and I disagree on the nexus of the war. Why is it that we're there? What is it that we're actually doing? I have told you guys for the longest time, I believe that the United States is actually over there dealing with Iran because it's a very convenient excuse to throw up and say that, Iran is kind of the hinge point when it comes down to Russia and China's foreign influence and everything that they were doing. And again, I ended up putting this out on the 2nd of January. On the 3rd, you saw us go into Venezuela, rip Maduro out of power, and here we are, 20 days into the conflict inside of Iran, ripping them out as Hezbollah is being dismantled. And you don't even hear about Yemen anymore. Ships are flowing through the Red Sea right now. And yesterday, this line right up over here that connects Iran and Russia was getting severed. And it's continuing to get severed. It's all falling into position. Now, Joe Kent, he believes that Israel was responsible for ISIS and sucking us into the Iraq War. I don't believe that. Not for the life of me. I'm not even sure if he believes it. I also haven't walked in his shoes. I'm not privy to that information. But you guys asked me to look into his wife, and I did. And I do know Joe. And he's a decent guy. Like, Joe's not a bad guy. He took a phone call from me last week for a national security matter. Handled it like that. So I do believe that he has the best interest of the United States and American troops in mind. He's not like just willy-nilly going about saying stuff. Do I think maybe, just maybe, he might have a little bit of frickin' cuckoo going on as far as Israel dragging us into war? Sure. But at the end of the day, getting rid of Russia and China and their influence in our hemisphere, as well as the pressure on the US dollar, is 100% within America's best interest. Not to mention, Iran's been killing US service members for decades. And we're just going to pretend like that never happened. It's absurd. Now, do I think that the nuclear threat to America is vastly overplayed? Sure. Doesn't make this any less pertinent, though. And I think the difference between his argument and mine is his is Israeli-centered and the Jews are doing it all, basically. Mine is Russia and China are behind this crap. Donald Trump is not going to get this approved through Congress in order to rip Iran out of power, and Israel is absolutely involved because they have no problem pushing for a regime change on the ground, while we have no problem dismantling their military infrastructure, which is why when you refer to the map that I ended up showing you guys earlier, Israel is primarily bombing in the north, and the United States of America is primarily bombing over in the south. Seth says, did you look into the Russian sending the oil? No, sir, I did not. Wow, I am just way out of freaking order on all of these. P-Mott, I got confused when Trump rightly helps Israel and fights Iran, but makes deals with Russia, burns bridges with war allies, and threatens Greenland. Crazy. Well, you actually heard it from Scott Bessonette earlier. If I pronounced his name correct, probably screwed it up, Treasury Secretary for the United States of America, when he said that they ended up releasing those sanctions on the Russian oil because the Strait of Hormuz was getting closed. and they didn't want the freaking cost of oil to go through the dang roof. And they're considering actually relieving more sanctions as far as the oil goes to try to keep the cost of oil down, because the international community, for some reason, doesn't want to do anything about it. Beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. Right-wing gun nut Joe Kent, ousted for leaking, goes full Tucker Carlson and blames Israel for the Iran war. Trump replaces him with Mark Levin. Trump is a savage. Yeah, dude, I don't even know what to say about that one. I'm not so sure I would throw Mark Levin in there if I was Donald Trump. That just makes no dang good sense to me. Personally, I don't get it. It's not really in my cup of tea, not something I would do if I was him. But I can tell you that RT wasted absolutely zero time putting out misinformation that Tucker spewed over on RT. As you guys can see, Israelis today blow up Qatar natural gas, which feeds world, according to Tucker. It's a lie. It's an outright lie. Always, always, always with the lies. Drives me freaking nuts. Tahoe guy says, hey, Matt, I heard job opening to be Supreme Leader just opened up. My best skill is working with others. Well, you will have, if you end up taking the Supreme Leader job, you will have plenty of body parts to go around to take on that position. That I can guarantee you. That I can guarantee you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast tonight. In the meantime, until next time, peace, love, happiness, God bless. If you haven't yet, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Peace, love, happiness, God bless. I'm out of here.
Assessments.
Thank you. I also wanted to ask this because this week there was a high-profile resignation of Director of National Counterterrorism Center. Now, I want to be clear from the outset. I've communicated directly with President Trump my support for Operation Epic Fury, and I was very not only disappointed, but how inappropriate this letter was. And I want to read a statement that and get your personal assessment, whether you agree or disagree with that. And that's this. Early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States and that you should strike now. There was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into a disastrous Iraq war. Now, I cannot say how much I disagree with that statement. Do you agree or disagree with what this letter was put out by former Director Kent?
He said a lot of things in that letter. Ultimately, we have provided the president with the intelligence assessments, and the president is elected by the American people and makes his own decisions based on the information that's available to him.
But do you agree with, does that statement he made